Okay, it seems that the statement was at least in part real. I think there's a little bit of extra, but maybe this, I don't know. Anyway, Friedman has now put this out to people. It's out to outlets formally. Here we go. So it says the court's decision on the motion to dismiss has no effect whatsoever on the truth, that there was no harassment nor any smear campaign, and does not in any way affect our vigorous defense. No effect whatsoever on the truth when the claims that got dismissed were defamation claims? That's a little bit of a stretch for me. Fair to say it does not affect our defense. I'm going to do the affirmative defenses video tomorrow if I get time to show you how some of those issues are still in the case. Discovery is proceeding, and we are confident that we will prevail against these factual. I got to put myself over this lady. Okay. She was creeping me out. We will prevail against these factually baseless allegations. Instead of revising the existing claims, our clients will be pursuing additional legal options that are available to us. Okay. So they're not filing an amended complaint. My guess is this lady. Okay, I have to cover this lady up. She's creeping me out. Okay. My guess is that so if you remember, Reynolds had argued in his motion to dismiss that if the Wayfarer people had actually attached the WME contracts to their complaint, it would have been obvious that that complaint between WME and Baldoni is a terminable at will contract, which means that anybody can leave at any time. And if that's the case, then it's the kind of contract that cannot be interfered with. And the claims that were left to replead were interference with contract claims. So it sounds like that's exactly what those contracts were, and they decided not to deal with that again. For the people who are saying that Friedman looks stupid because he has to backtrack, they're absolutely right. That was super dumb to go out the day of and be like, we're absolutely going to refile. And now he looks like an idiot. At the least, to some people, he looks like an outright liar. That was really dumb. That was, men are too emotional. He should have just said, we're going to read the judge's ruling and we're going to decide what our next steps are. But he just had to go out there and go on TMZ and say all these things that now he's not doing. So that is very fair criticism and frankly well-deserved. In terms of what are the additional legal options, this is what's weird. Because now that looks like that lady's arm is my arm. Okay. So they could appeal. They could appeal the dismissal of the amended complaint. That is a final order. It is appealable to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. If they want to do that, it has to be done within 30 days of the order. And the way that an appeal is done, you don't have to do all your arguments when you appeal. You just have to file a notice in the court you're appealing from that says, we hereby appeal this order on this day to this court. It's like a 1-paragraph thing. So if they do that, we will know because it will be filed on the docket in the case that we are all watching. But that has some implications, like would it stop the case? Would it slow things down? Do they have good issues? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to think of like what the additional options are. And I'm inclined to think it's just lip service, like, oh, lawyers say this all the time. We will be looking at all legal options that are available to us. It's just like boilerplate shit that we say when really we're just like, we don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're thinking about it. So I'm inclined to think it's that. The only thing contrary to that, and Little Girl Attorney said this earlier, and it made a lot of sense. It really stuck with me that if they really weren't working on anything else or doing anything else, wouldn't the Lively people be out crowing to the media again today? And wouldn't Ryan Reynolds, who is now officially completely out of this case as a party, wouldn't he want to say, I feel vindicated, I'm out of this case, it's never had anything to do with me, I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful? Why not? I don't see any of that. Maybe I'm just missing it. If you guys have seen it, let me know. But that does seem strange. Now, you can't just file cases all over the place about the same issues. So there are these concepts called joinder. Like, you have to try all issues that arise out of the same set of facts in the same case in the same court. You can't just run around. They couldn't just like file a case in San Francisco about one part of this case and keep the other one in New York. You can't do that. So again, I don't know if this is real or if this is just them saying like, no, we're thinking about what other options there might be. I don't know. But they are not filing an amended complaint. So this case is now just Lively versus Baldoni, which I think has its pluses and minuses for everybody in the case. We are now back to the original case as it existed in December of last year.